Candid conversations, unfiltered opinions, and humor with AVAG Beck's podcast.
Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome. Today, we are going to talk about something most people do as a hobby. However, it is a career and is a very lucrative career, and we have an expert here. So it is my pleasure and honor to have with us today Jon Fischer. Jon Fischer is a photographer. Jon Fischer is creating a paradigm shift in the photography industry based on his years of experience and his knowledge. And we cannot wait to hear from him and learn all that we can from him. Hi, Jon. Welcome.
Hello. Idungasit.
There
Wonderful.
we go. I just noticed something, right? So we're talking about photography and we're both wearing black. It's so telling. On
Right.
photography. So how did you get started in photography, Jon?
Wonderful question. So I did it when I was in high school, and I just loved it, fell in love with it. And about 20 years ago, when digital started to happening, I chose to do it professionally. The first thing I did, I just started to do online dating photography, actually.
Okay.
And that's kind of started this career that I'm at now. And love to share with you what I'm talking about, why I'm changing the paradigm of headshots.
I love it. So basically you started headshots for online dating. And, in doing that, you noticed things, you changed things, you applied your own little flair to them.
Yes, exactly.
Given that you started this when digital came into the picture until now, do you think that the changes has been exponential or are they subtle, when it comes to quality and, say, style?
There's now an opportunity with digital that there was actually, even with advanced digital, that there never was with film.
Right.
Like in film, you just had to click, and each click cost money. And now it doesn't. And there's a certain opportunity with high volume potential that we can capture way more than we ever have before. We can actually capture personality, actually. And that's really what I'm going to be talking about and what's possible.
So how did you discover there was a need for a paradigm shift when it comes to headshots? Anybody can say, well, it's just a headshot. It doesn't have to be complicated. How did you come to this decision that, hey, there's got to be another way we can do this that makes it better?
When I did online dating photography, I was instructed by a dating coach that was sending me his clients. And he was actually a friend of mine, a dating coach. And he saw the way I was shooting naturally, just regular headshots. And he was noticing that I was adding way more than, it was more than a headshot. I was actually capturing personality and candidness in the headshot. And he realized this would be a perfect fit for online dating because from his perspective, especially for older people, so it's people looking for an actual relationship, not something less than that. Primarily like divorced people, like older divorced people, they really want to try again and really want it to work this time. Capturing a sense of their personality obviously mattered for this purpose for online dating. And so the assignment that I had now was to make certain I captured authenticity, actually. So the concept of how do you capture authenticity in a photo? In a photo, when the subject is staring at the photographer, waiting for the photographer to click, and now there needs to be something genuine there. And that's what I was required to do for this dating photography because my lead source was telling me that I absolutely needed to capture different actual sides of the subject, not just show them what they looked like, but I needed to make it so that their potential matches could look at the photo and say, wow, I think I get you. I think I might like hanging out with you. And so that sense of a real person was absolutely, almost obviously essential for matchmaking. And in this case, it wasn't young people like looking for, something, I'm sorry to say like a quickie, something short term, but they were really wanting a relationship. And so to get a real sense of the person really mattered for this. And at some point when I was trying to think of how to market it, honestly, okay, so over 15 years, I shot about 1,000 clients for this purpose. And I figured out how to do it. In each and every one of these photo shoots, I had to have options of how to accomplish this because it was essential, because my main lead source required it. So I had to become the expert at capturing authenticity when the subject was aware of the camera, which is a tough thing. And so I happened to become like the absolute expert at this. And strangely, in this industry, there weren't any experts in this field. Like, it wasn't something that is known, like you would think of lighting and posing and backgrounds, but the concept of capturing authenticity was something, sure, I can do it a little bit. Photographers know the value, but it was something, such an offhanded, like, sure, I'll try that kind of thing. It was such a low level, and the elements that are essential for a good headshot, let's say, the concept of authenticity was, who knows, lighting and posing and authenticity, whatever, we'll give it a shot. I have my tricks. People have their tricks and ways to do something, getting a natural smile, for example. But am I transitioning okay, I'm going to teach this. I have something to teach now. Maybe I can teach headshot photography. Somewhat in my process of thinking about teaching it, or even in my own work as a headshot photographer, something dawned on me that I will never really forget. And it is now my focus that, hey, guys, the headshot actually does something. And what it could do is allow the viewer to get a sense of the subject in such a way that they might say, oh yeah, I kind of know you and I kind of like you and I think I might want to work with you. So the same concept that happens in dating photography actually happens every time there's a headshot. Every time there's somebody that comes for a headshot wanting to improve their business, the fact is that one photo actually does a lot of work that photographers aren't even considering. The fact is that one photo potentially could allow the viewer to say, oh yeah, like, for example, I'm sorry, I'm interrupting myself, but a lawyer or a therapist, let's say, it's like the easiest two things, especially, let's say, a criminal lawyer. So I'm a potential client. I'm in trouble. I need to stay out of jail, or I need to not be sued. So when I'm looking at a list of photos, I'm going to look at a bunch of lawyers, and here's a photo of this one person that I see the viciousness of the lawyer that I know for a fact by looking in their eyes that they're going to win my case. Period. I can tell by who they are, not what they look like, but who they are. Similar with a therapist. If I'm looking for a therapist, I want to find, oh yeah, she looks loving and caring. And I can also tell she's an expert. I can feel it. And it's like, it's a feeling. It's kind of like dating, but for business, but that's really what the photo does or could do. And for some reason in our industry, it hasn't been known as, oh yeah, this is something you need to learn how to do to capture a genuine sense of the subject, so that when their potential viewers can look at them, they could feel them and connect with them and maybe look further, because now they actually almost met them already. They see a real human. And unfortunately, in our industry or whatever, I'm not unfortunately, but right now, lighting, posing, all these things to create a beautiful photo. And here's like the paradigm shift that I'm wanting to create in our industry. Like, guess what, folks? Lighting doesn't sell. A perfect photo doesn't cause the viewer to say yes. It will cause a viewer to say, wow, that's a pretty photo, but it's not going to cause them to take action. And capturing a true sense of authenticity in the subject is what does that. And I have a course to teach photographers easily how to accomplish this, because I happen to have become the master at it through online dating photography. I've had to become the master, and now I am, and I can't wait to teach other photographers simple tricks of how to accomplish that, so that they can make that headshot, that photo for their client, actually do its correct job. So to actually serve their own clients in a way that the clients don't even know what they need, but you as a photographer will know that, no, this photo can convert. And the way it converts is to cause a connection with the viewer, so the viewer can really feel like they know the real human in the photo. And that's what I will teach other photographers how to do.
That was so great.
Thank you.
And talking about getting somebody to or capturing the essence of somebody's personality, there's a certain level of soft skills that goes with that, especially when somebody's in front of a camera, because it's not easy to be in front of a lens. And the reason that most photographers focus on gear, speaking from experience, gear, understanding the gear, understanding the equipment, aperture, the ISOs, or the lighting angles, right? The cameras, because the cameras, work differently. A Canon is very different from a Nikon, is very different from, all the brands are very different, right? And all the brands perform differently in different arenas. Some of them have higher qualities, when you're using them, say, for portrait shot, as opposed to nature, as opposed to outdoor natural light or studio lighting, right? So we spend all our time investing in learning these technicalities because, like you said, is the beauty of the photo, right? That all of these technicalities will improve. It's like, oh, that's a pretty photo. Again, it's a picture. Is that visual appeal? Nobody wants to take a photo that looks like you used a microwave to take it, right? So I think in focusing on that, like you rightfully stated, we don't really put a lot of emphasis capturing the personality of the subject being shot. So in your experience and as you've developed this course and this training program, would you agree that there's a certain level of soft skills, personality, people skills that you had to employ to be able to get the subjects you were shooting to, relax a bit, drop that shoulder and get into it?
I love that question, honestly. And because the crazy, surprising answer is no. I remember it's a shocking question, and you don't need that level of people skills for what I'm teaching how to do. And everybody, by the way, this is my first podcast, so
He's doing great.
we're working on it.
John is doing great. I love it.
Here's the thing. So you would think that. Oh, I'm going to bring out your beautiful night. And honestly, I do that too. And that's like a higher level of what I do. There's different categories of how to accomplish what I'm doing. Some of them require no people skills. It's actually, here's like the essence of what I'm showing people how to do is if you can manufacture a microsecond of truth, right? And this is why nowadays with the digital photos, it's possible to do what I'm saying needs to be done. If you can capture a microsecond of pure truth of who that person is, just a microsecond, and then capture it, right? Capture it partially by shooting a lot of pictures, honestly. But in that, you've captured a microsecond when that person revealed truth kind of accidentally. But once you've captured it, it's true. When a subject sees it, here's a kind of a weird thought. A grumpy old man like me. I'm not a grumpy old man, but some grumpy old man comes into my studio, really curmudgeon-y, mean, blah, 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 blah. But if I can get him I tell a stupid joke, he cracks up genuinely. He forgets for a second.
That's still a soft skill.
It's not. So that's actually part of what I have to offer is tricks that you don't need the people skills to accomplish. In immense depth in the photo does not require to bring out, to be a therapist, to bring that out. It really doesn't. If I can crack a stupid joke, no, really, let's just think this through. If I could crack a stupid joke, stupid enough to cause that person to really laugh, and then I'm clicking while that person's laughing,
right?
I just captured that person being happy. Wait, give me a moment here. Not having a smile on their face, but being happy, right? And first, I got it. Now I capture this curmudgeon-y old guy who everybody knows is just misery, but I got him to laugh. And now I see his happy man. If somebody sees this happy man, it looks like, wow, that's a happy man. Right. He's not, but I got him, but I captured a truth of him forever. Now he can present himself as being a happy kind of guy. And, it's not my job to discover who he really is if I want to, It's my job to, what do you got to say? It seems like you have some problems with this.
I think you're selling it short because you're doing
Okay.
such a great job, right?
Tell me why.
Because I'm in the healthcare industry as well, and I see this as one of those things. People come at their lowest, or people come when they're nervous. And somebody like myself, I'm great at shooting. I'm great behind the lens. You put me in front of the lens, I melt. The idea of looking into a camera lens is just something that is not that natural for me. And I want to applaud your skill here, Jon, because there are photographers that are photographers. You're here for a shot, I'll take a shot, and we'll call it a day. That's what you came here for, right? And there's you, Jon. Somebody walks through your door and you're like, you know what? Cool. I'm going to make you forget about this lens even for a splinter of a second while I'm clicking away, right? I'm going to say something silly or, depending on your presentation. How about them, whatever baseball team or football team, if you came in with a hat, right? Just something to just have you forget the lens for 2 seconds. That's a skill that I don't think every photographer has. And given that you are expanding on this paradigm, right, with your course, it's so incredible because it's like somebody saying, I'm a plumber. I'm just going to focus on the pipes, right? And you walk into a home and this home is flooded as a single parent, man or woman, kids' clothes, school supplies, everything is destroyed. And you're like, you know what? I'm just here for the pipes, right? No, you don't need an empathy for me. I'm not your therapist, right? I'm just here to fix the pipe and call it a day, right? So that is the difference between what you do. What you're doing is so incredible. And I know you don't consider it people's skills, but it takes a great deal of emotional intelligence. And knowing that, for a fraction of a second, you can capture another side of a person just for making them forget the lens. I think that is why, not that I don't want you to sell it short, is that I admire it. And it's something that most people don't have.
And the reason why I'm saying it, thank you, and I understand what you're saying. And it's interesting, like truly the depth of it is what kept me there. So I'm just going to back up is I think I'm going to go down your path of where you're going and back up to what I'm really saying. The reason why I stuck with online dating photography because I noticed that during the photo shoot, my clients were transformed. They were by the way that I was seeing them and allowing them to really believe it. Like I had a promise to myself that I would not I would not be, oh, you have such pretty, they were, I was a vow to every time to my clients, I'm not, if something comes out of my mouth, it's true. It's from my perspective. And often these are older women that are feeling insecure about themselves going into, they're just divorced and now they have to do this whole thing again and they don't like the way they look. And I was able to see their beauty as is. And then I was watching them take it in and be changed by my words. And then by the way I was shooting, they would now be able to look at the photo and believe it. Like it wasn't, there's something because I was adding this element of truth to it, the subject themselves could believe it. And just like I was saying that a potential client can look at the photo and really get somebody, the subject themselves could now see that gorgeousness of the photo. But because of this element of truth in it, it was now believable. So the subject themselves can see themselves changed. And it's like in my career things, there's always been something I want to help. I want to therapeutically help kids. There's some things I did in those lines of being a teacher, of being a therapeutic counselor. And then I said, forget about this helping thing. I just want to do this thing that I love called photography, and it's interesting that as it happens, I ended up finding a way to be therapeutically helpful anyways. It's like, that's who I am. And that's what honestly, I felt like I won the lottery because I love photography. And now, oh my God, I can actually heal people. I can actually cause them to feel better about who they are, see themselves truly different and be changed. Wow. So that's my heart of it. That's what I truly care about. And yes. So that's what I truly care about is the transformational possibility of photography. And it so happens I'm not that good at it in all kinds of ways. There's certain ways that I can be good at bringing out somebody, but I don't have time for that. And photographers don't have time for that. So when I said I had 1,000 shoots, That was not even true. I had 1,000 mini shoots. Each one of my 1,000 shoots had 7 different mini shoots. And each one of these 15-minute mini shoots, I had to capture authenticity in each one of them because my lead source would not be happy and he wouldn't send me job. So I had to figure out how to do it, how to have a backup plan, all these different ways. And I only had 15 minutes. It wasn't therapy. It wasn't, oh, I'm going to bring out your beautifulness. No, I had to have tricks to make it work or else I wouldn't be successful. And that's what I had to figure out how to do. And that's what I do. And I do have ways, that's actually advanced ways, very advanced. And I don't even teach everybody what's possible to really truly allow somebody to feel better about who they are and to really, truly allow them to be seen. That's just one possibility. So I'm going to just back it up a little bit. So in my course, there's different categories of authenticity or how to capture it. Reaction, like a laughter, telling a joke. Reaction, distraction. Like I think you were saying something, just being distracted. If I can get them distracted from the camera for a second, that's good enough. Reaction, distraction. Then there's facilitation. That is an option, but it's just one option, is to really somehow with words or helping them remember something. There's certain ways I can generally get them to feel certain way about who they are. And that's a way. And then there's all kinds of other things using motion, using tiny motion, even eye motion, even the concept of closing your eyes and opening it again, closing your eye. It's just like certain little tiny things that are easy to say, do this, do this, do this. Like even I'm going to even do it right now. I'm going to close my eyes and then I'm going to be looking at you and see if you can see a spark in the instant I make contact. I feel it. And it's genuine. There's some spark in that instant of contact. I call that first look. There's so many different ways so I happen to become like the expert at this field of all the different options, all the different possibilities. And that's what I wanted to, even motion, there's something I'm calling motion posing. Let's say if I'm right here waiting for a click, right? So I'm right here waiting for a click, the camera's there, whatever. But just by doing this, if you're the photographer and clicking me, watch this, what happens. Similarly, I'm just going to go into the pose. And there's something about that motion. I'm going to do it again. I'm just going to go into that pose. You have a camera pointing at me. Yeah. It doesn't always work, but even moving into the pose, if you're shooting while that's happening, there's something that it works. There's life there. All of a sudden there's life there. And that's why I'm saying with digital photography, now we can do this. Like before, if we had to wait for every click, there really wasn't that possibility to capture the subject off guard. There really almost isn't even that possibilities. So maybe that's why it's not in our industry. But now with where you're able to shoot multiple photos in a row, now I can almost like I could facilitate a moment of something that lasts like 2 or 3 seconds. I'm going to crack you up. Somehow you're going to be in something, but you're just going to be, there's going to be motion involved. It's not going to be static. But if I'm shooting through that incident of realness, I'm going to capture that photo there. And that can only happen with digital.
I absolutely love it.
Do you really love it?
I really do.
Why do you love it?
The reason is maybe it's actually changed my perspective a little bit, because this is why I don't do portrait photography. Mm-hmm. This is why I don't do pose type photography. I like to capture people when they're not aware of the lens.
Oh, wow. You're my perfect student. You're like, oh, wow, we got to talk. It's for real. Like you're my perfect student that really gets the value of authenticity. Yes. And really loves it, but doesn't happen to know how to accomplish it. And that's what I want. Oh, that's so funny. I really want you to, we got to talk after this.
I like pose photography with poses. However, you have to have, I think you have to have a certain skill to do so. And there has to be a certain element of comfortability for certain things to be accomplished. Yes, you can have those moments where you can sneak in a few clicks of a person not really posing to capture everything that you talked about, whether it's distraction, movement, motion, whatever it is, you can sneak those in. But actually accomplishing portrait photography, it usually in my experience, I've had to employ other elements. So, for instance, when I do portrait for anybody, I have to at least know their personality. I have to know at least what they like, right? So they're not mini shoots like you've mentioned, those 50-minute mini shoots. You don't have time to plan that out, right? So if I have 30 minutes to an hour to spend with somebody, and I know they're passionate about maybe a certain genre of music, I'll have that play, right? If I know they're passionate about, say, a certain snack item, I'll have that available, right? If I know they're passionate about, if they're a silly person, because I'm very unserious, I'm a very seriously unserious person, very dry sense of humor, human none the least. So if it's somebody that I can crack a good joke with, I will utilize that because I just want you. It's me. Forget the camera. It's me. Right? So anything to distract you from that lens, because for me, the front of the lens is very, where I prefer to be. I don't mind it now, but you really used to cripple me. So that's why I don't like still photography or portrait photography, I should say. I like motion. And those are the best pictures when somebody least expected something to be captured. And then you capture it and just walk and just tap them. Look at this. Oh my goodness, that's so beautiful. Can you please send it to me? For a photographer, that is awesome. That's one of the best feelings for me.
I
So
agree.
to have the experience where you've mastered this and you've captured and understood how to pull out those moments that are really milliseconds, you have to be like precise to capture them to actually deliver great result. That is very impressive, John. I have to give you your flowers.
But the thing is, and just want to be clear, it's not impressive that I could do it because the tricks are really, like, literally really simple. And some of the tricks, it doesn't take as much depth as you might think it does to really manufacture or manifest truth. Like, truth can happen in an instant with somebody, a moment of personality, truth can happen. But if you're the only now, how do you capture it? And that's what the course is about. So how do you combine bringing out something instantly? I mean, capturing it, it doesn't have to be that, that touchy-feely. Really, honestly, it's kind of strange, but it really does not have to be that touchy-feely thing. And I like the touchy-feely thing, but we don't have time.
Right. So it's great that you say it's really not that difficult or that big of a deal, but you took the time to recognize it. So is that big of a deal? Not everybody's using it. So
It's not that big a deal, meaning it's not that complicated to accomplish it. But of course it's yes, it's more than a big deal. It's almost like the essence of what headshots should be. And that's actually what is doing the work. That's what's doing the heavy lifting. And when when the photographer's client has come to the studio, they don't know what they need. They just need a picture. But the reality is most likely they need a photo that will do work by itself, that will cause a potential viewer to take action. And generally the way that happens is when the viewer kind of gets them. Oh yeah, I kind of get you. I think you'd be nice to work with. Okay.
Okay. So in the age of digital photography, digital cameras in almost every hand, right? What would you say your ideal student profile is, right? The everyday
Great question.
photographer, the established professional photographer, or the hobby photographer?
Because in some ways it's you. I'm really, and it's fun, kind of seems like that could be contrived because here I am with you, but it's somebody that really gets the value of capturing that sweet stuff. If you just get authenticness and candidness. And so somebody that just gets it, my first perfect student is somebody that gets it and is willing to learn how to do it. Honestly, because most photographers, so if you're in the industry for 20 years, most like, oh, sure, I know how to do that. I don't need your help. But if you're a new student and somehow are willing to be open to the possibility that this element is not just more important than we've established it as, but it's even easy to accomplish. So somebody that's willing to be taught, honestly. So that's my perfect client, somebody that gets how important authenticity is, or if I can prove to them how important it is, they might believe me and then be willing to be taught.
I love it. So what is the learning? I know everybody has different learning styles and speed. What would you tell your prospective students to commit to time-wise in really learning, practicing, and implementing the skills to get to a point where it becomes second nature?
Oh, great question. You have a good question. I have a course. It's a 3-month program.
Okay.
It's about 130 lessons. It's
Okay.
just absolutely intense. So I absolutely within 3 months with feedback and homework assignments and interaction with me, absolutely you can become that expert as well.
Beautiful. So is there like a community of other students that a person who may enroll in your course will have? Yes, they have access to you. Would they have access to, say, other photographers who are utilizing the skills? So when we're talking about portrait, yes, in your case, it's human portrait for dating profiles, either for LinkedIn profiles, I may presume, for those professional or those picture presenting moments. But, we do know people take portraits of animals, horses, all kinds of things. So is there a community where others can see how others are applying the skills towards their different niches or expertise?
Yeah. So when somebody signs up for the course, they'll be part of a community and we can share each other's ideas. And right now it's humans only. I imagine similar skills could work for animals, but it's really a human only thing.
I'm sure there's an animal dating site somewhere.
Probably. And although it's like it started with online dating, and it's honestly what branding photography should be.
Okay.
I mean, because really that's what branding photography is capturing a real sense of the business or the person. And that's really most headshots. People don't know that they need a branding photo, but they really do. Like a branding photo is somehow that photo will by itself will communicate something to the audience and especially when the person is selling themselves, like as a service, that's everything. To communicate everything in one photo about who that person actually is obviously essential. And now I'm saying it's actually possible. So we can do this thing that really we should have been doing forever.
Yeah.
And now we can do it. One, because now there's a person to teach it. And with digital photography, there's a capability of capturing such small, minute moments. We now can accomplish that.
So we're talking about branding. I just want to delve into that just a little deeper. So if you have a client who's coming for a shoot, right? And it is a branding portrait photography, say for a professional profile, in order to capture the subject in a way that really speaks to who they are, what they offer. Say the attorney, the example you used of the attorney, right? They're the biggest dog in the fight.
Right.
Do you cue your subjects? Do you have a say in, say, wardrobe or any of those things that can actually help the subject have that authority that they're looking for their portrait to portray?
And it's really interesting. So that's part of it is clothing. And there's lots of factors that are part of it. And most, headshot portrait photographers, branding photographers, that's part of what they will be doing is consult with the client about clothing and what their work's about, who their audience is, to find a way to create a scene that will really represent the business correctly. And that kind of what I'm adding is there's just another level. It's not just clothing. It's not just lighting. It's also actual personality. And in some ways, we as photographers didn't really know it was possible to accomplish that. So we've kind of ignored it to some degree or not made it a big deal, but capturing you love those candid moments where you're capturing somebody off guard. Those moments are so powerful because they're pure truth and you can't deny it. So when you see a candid, you can't deny it because you can't. It's capturing truth. So what if you can manufacture, but find a way to have truth in that photo? So it's not just a pose. There's something extra that I can actually see the real person and feel them and get them. Oh yeah, I kind of know them. Oh yeah, you're that. Okay. It's different. It's completely different. It's adding a layer to all portraits, headshots that have been not completely ignored, but just not give the attention that They really obviously deserve. If there was one shot, comparing different, service providers, and one person had a professional looking photo and one person didn't, you'd go with the professional looking photo. But if everybody's doing their due diligence and they all have good looking photos, there's got to be what else, and the else is if I can see them as if I just met them in person. And that's what I'm claiming is possible. Could you imagine how powerful that could be for a photograph as a piece of marketing?
Make things difficult. Make it difficult to choose, or make it easier to see a personality. And I
So much
absolutely love
easier.
it.
Even, yeah. If that can happen, like,
Yeah.
why would you ever not do your best to serve your client, to give them a photo that has the potential to do all that it's capable of doing? And that includes capturing a true peek at a real human. And if it was possible, which it is, and if it was easy, which it is, why wouldn't you ever not do that to serve your client?
Why would you not? Hello. So thank you for talking about that. When it comes to what Jon does, the show note is going to include everything Jon related. His website, Jon's website will be listed.
AuthenticWorksBetter.com.
Love it. So again, everybody, please, you can hear that. We'll also make sure it's available. Our main goal here is for you to find this easily. So if you're listening to this podcast and you didn't have time to write it down, it's quite all right. The show notes has all this information. Click into it and it'll take you right where you need to go. If you're a beginner photographer learning, it's not easy. However, Jon is here to tell us the technicality is important. However, in addition to learning that technicality, also learn how to bring the authentic nature of your subject out so that you don't only deliver aesthetically pleasing photos, you can also deliver relatable photos.
Exactly. For real. Absolutely. You said it right there.
I love it.
Absolutely. Thank you for getting it. I get you get it. I love that you get it.
Thank you. So, and also, if you are an established photographer, we all learn and doesn't hurt to learn something new. If you think that this is an area that you need to improve in, to just make your business just stand out some more, because you're doing incredible work. If you're professional and getting paid for this, you're delivering pleasing work. However, if you need to bring in that skill of being authentic or bringing out the authenticity of your subject, it doesn't hurt to learn the skills. So Jon, again, he stated on this podcast that he has different tiers for different skill level. And that is something that kudos to him for thinking about that ahead of time. Because if I already know the technical stuff, I don't want to learn the technical stuff over. However, maybe there are a few things I may learn, who knows? But please, please, please engage. Let us know what you think. Go and check it out. Check it out. Check out the website. Check out the course and reach out to Jon. I'm sure he'll be more than happy to talk to you, answer your questions, and direct you on, which one is a better approach to learning or which one is a better course for you. So Jon, any golden nuggets you have to leave our folks?
Golden nuggets.
Yeah.
Wow, you have such good questions. Okay, well, here's the golden nugget. Like, if I'm struggling and I'm going for the personal, because that's really what I care about most. If a struggling person, insecure person is coming to your studio for whatever reason, and you're making them look amazing, gorgeous, somehow they're just, oh my God, amazing. Here's like the difference of what with this perspective can accomplish, and let me know which you think is better, or what's, my God, I can do that, then you want to do it. One option is if after the photo shoot, your client will come to you and say, my God, you took such a great photo. Good job. I'm going to tell all my friends about you. You took such a great photo. You took great job. That's one option. The other option by adding believability, truth to it, here's what could happen. Your client can look at the photo and be like, oh my God, I didn't know I was that. I didn't know that was me, but now I do. Wow. Thank you. And be changed forever because of your photo with this added element of believability, truth to it. You can change lives.
Yeah. So I don't have to emphasize that point to anybody who's ever taken a photo. That is the essence of why a lot of us do what we do when we see that change, when we see somebody actually appreciate what was captured of them. So your feedback will be right there. Like John said, your feedback will be right there. And if anything, a subject or client is going to do is want to see the photos you took of them before they leave the studio. And you will get your feedback that way. And it is going to fuel you to want to employ a lot of these skills and do better. So thank you, John, for being here. I
Thank you so
really
much.
appreciate you. Thank you, everybody, for listening.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Don't
Thank you. Thank you, everybody. Take care of yourself. Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in to AVP podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave us a review. It really helps us out. We'd love to hear your thoughts and continue the discussion. So join us on social media or drop us a message. Until next time, keep exploring, stay curious, and keep pushing the boundaries of your world.